Welcome back to the DeFi Football Podcast. This week I'm speaking to Alistair Smith of Altrincham. How you doing, mate?
Yeah, I'm good, thanks, mate. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good as well. So this week we're going to be speaking about obviously his time at Mansfield and his spell there and his loan at Altrincham and then the move becoming permanent and, just some general sort of generic questions as we always ask. But the first question we always ask is, how did you get into football?
Yeah, started when I was young, like most people. My older brother played football, so I always looked up to him, and I was always trying to copy him and play like him. Really, started out a few camps when I was younger, then got picked up by Hull at the age of 9. Sorry, just got a call. Got picked up by Hull from the age of 9, and then I was there until about 16, just playing through the academy systems. So enjoying my football, really. And then at the age of 16, I got released by Hull. And then found my way to Mansfield after the exit trials and been there ever since, really. But yeah, I've been kicking the football since knee high, really, since I've always known.
And when was the point when you, if any, that you started to sort of realise that that you're sort of better perhaps than average and, just a normal guy and that there might actually be some kind of career in it for you?
Yeah, I think you sort of realise it at Sunday League level. Right at the start, I was playing about a couple of years up than most people. Yeah, I just it's one of them where you're scoring a lot more goals than other people. You get a bit more attention, and when you get the recognition by Hull, I mean, I think that's all a kid really needs at that moment, to know that they're a bit better than the rest. But at that age, it was just about enjoying football for me, really, more than the status. But yeah, that's when I realised, I think.
And you said, obviously, you eventually made your way to Mansfield and their sort of youth. What was that like then, moving into Mansfield, obviously, in their youth team?
Yeah, it was a bit of a shock for me as I've been playing for Hull. It's around the corner from where I live, so it was a move away from home at around 15, 16, which was a bit of a shock for me, having to do my own washing up and everything and learn it quite young. But yeah, it was. I joined at 15 years old, and I was a non-paid scholar, so I was in sort of the team below the scholars originally, and throughout the 2 years, I've sort of worked my way up to compete with all the paid scholars, and from there, luckily got offered a pro. But I was one of the ones from the non-paid to escape into the scholar team, and then made my way up to getting a pro, which was quite good.
Obviously, then moving into that, you eventually sort of start becoming somewhat involved in the first team, playing little bits here and there. Again, obviously, what was that like? Obviously, getting into in some way the first team. Do you think it would ever happen, or was it something that you thought, I might be in the youth team, but I might not make it, but still, might make it a little bit lower down?
Yeah, I think you have a little bit of taste as every now and again as a youth team player, like you'll go up and maybe do a bit of shape against the first team, or but yeah, my chance came around probably the end of the 2018 season when I was on loan, when I got recalled from Loughborough Dynamo, and then after that I sort of wormed my way in and kept on training with them, kept on trying to impress, and started to feel more of like an established, well, not established, but fit in more to the team, and kept on going from there, really.
And then eventually making your full league debut against Swindon, who I think were up there. I think they were top of the league at that point, or roundabout up there. Was that a bit daunting against? It's always going to be your full league debut, obviously, but against a team who's up near the top, must have been a bit daunting and a bit sort of scary almost.
Yeah, I think even being involved in the game came as a bit of a surprise. I think we were on a bit of a bad run, but prior to that, I think I had a cup game that I played quite well in before the game, and then I backed that up with a good performance in the reserves as well. So after that, I remember being put in the shape before the game, and it was a bit of a shock. But then, yeah, it was just about getting myself ready, and one of the best moments of my career, really, just my first start, especially at the stadium, and the way Swindon were playing at that time, they were on fire. I think they were top of the league, smashing it really. Stadium was pretty much packed. Played 90 minutes as well, and we were unlucky to lose, but it was a really good moment for me, and sort of put together everything I worked for moving away from home so early. So it was a great moment, yeah.
You also said there as well you played at a cup game. You did play a lot of like the EFL trophy games and things like that. What was that like? I mean, I know there's a lot of sort of controversy, if you like, around the EFL trophy, and a lot of people don't like it. But for you, what were your thoughts on it and being involved in it?
To me, the EFL trophy or the checker tray, everything it was my World Cup final. Really, it was the games where it was a chance for me to prove myself to the first team manager, whoever was in charge at the time, and show him that I'm good enough. So it was a bit. It's almost a game that fans don't really like, but to a younger player, it's pretty much everything. It's a way to show you're good enough in men's football and prove yourself. And yeah, I played a lot of games. Had a lot of good times in it, to be fair, because you're usually playing with people around your age. So it's just like playing with your friends on the pitch. And played well in a couple of the games, which, as I said, helped me get my league start. So yeah, to me, that trophy's it meant a lot at the time.
You also had obviously a few loan spells at a few lower non-league teams. In fact, I do always like to sort of find a bit of information about these sort of loan spells against, for smaller teams, but sometimes it's just hard to find information. So in general, and sort of summarising those loan spells, obviously over different periods, what were they like?
Loughborough Dynamo was the first place I went on loan around 18 years old. My first taste of men's football. We actually played them with Mansfield in a pre-season friendly for the reserves. And then from there, they just said they'll take me on. And I think I had a talk with him on the Saturday of the first game of the season, and I was already told to get to the ground. And I was in the starting lineup straight away, didn't know anyone, just walked in straight in the starting lineup. Ended up playing, I think, around 50 games, scoring about 12 goals. I think that was probably the most enjoyable time in my career, if I look back on it, because it was just me going out playing every week and getting the experience that I needed, I think, at that moment, because I think I was just flirting between like limbo, really, of not really being with the first team, but just with the 21s, and that kind of gave me a solid foundation of men's football, to give me the belief to go train with the first team when I got recalled towards the end of the season. But I have nothing bad to say about Loughborough Dynamo. It was, as I said, one of my best times of my career. Just enjoyed every moment, enjoyed playing. Stats prove that I enjoyed my football. So yeah, that was a good period. It was Frickley next. Frickley was about 4 or 5 months after Loughborough, I reckon, and it was a bit of a shorter spell, but I actually played in midfield with one of the Mansfield coaches at the time for the 21s, Jamie Maguire, and he was a massive help for me when I went to Frickley. Taught me a lot about off the ball side of the game, and I was only there for about a month and a bit, I reckon, and I got injured. But in the month that I was there, I reckon I really improved my game, and he was massive in that, to be fair. So yeah, Frick was another enjoyable time. I've nothing bad to say about anyone there. They were all class with me, to be fair. Very well run club as well. What was the last one? Oh, Kettering Town, yeah. So Kettering Town was a weird one, because I think I played really well every time I played for them on loan. Not in the best conditions as well, due to the pitch, but as I sort of picked myself up and I was getting better and better each game, that's when the lockdown hit. In the last game was against Altrincham, and then the lockdown hit, so it was sort of cut short without me having anything to do with it. So, but yeah, all 3 loan spells served their purpose. I think they all helped me mould my game, and I'm happy that they took me on. It's all good.
And then obviously the following season, obviously from the 1920 season, it would have been, you get a loan spell to Altrincham. again, how did that move come about?
Yeah, I think one day I was just about to go to bed, and it was around 9:30, 10ish. I just got a call off the managers saying, the Mansfield manager saying, "Do you want to come? Do you want to come to Altrincham? Well, you've had an offer from Altrincham. Do you want to go?" And I just thought of like, in the moment, I didn't really think much of it. I just thought, yeah, it'd be a great place to get game time and kick on, really, because at that moment in time, I was on the fringes at Mansfield and I wasn't really getting involved too much. So, yeah, I grabbed it with both hands, really. And yeah, there I am now. So,
And obviously going on loan to them, and then what were your first impressions of the club?
yeah, it was. I think, yeah, it was another one like Loughborough. I came straight into a game fixture on a Saturday, and met all the lads and whatever as you do. I think I ended up coming on in like the 70th minute in that game. But the first impressions, they're all great people around there. I mean, the managing staff, you could tell straight away how level-headed and confident the whole team was, really. I haven't got a bad word to say about the players. I love the style of football that we try to keep to as well. So the first impressions were good, yeah.
And obviously then you made the deal permanent after the loan spell. What were your sort of reasonings then for making the deal permanent?
I think I just believed that this moment in my career, it was just time to go out and get football, get games, and keep myself enjoying football. Really, it was just a case of at Mansfield. I think I was going around in circles. I was kind of out. Sometimes I feel like maybe I should have been playing more than other times, and then I'd just go around in my head, and it would probably affect my game more than, looking back now, more than I probably would have thought. So I think the opportunity at Altrincham just gave me sort of like a new lease of life. And it gave me a chance to, well, touch wood, it keeps going, to be playing week in, week out and enjoying my football again, which is what I believe I'm doing now. And I think that's what's bringing out the best performances in me, because I'm not really playing with any like pressure. I'm just playing free, and I'm just I think playing how I did at the start with my love for Dynamo days, and just enjoying my football, because I think if you don't enjoy your football, then you shouldn't really be playing, and you never play your best football when you don't enjoy football, in my opinion. So yeah.
And highlight of the season so far, obviously we've not played, I think it's probably about just over a third of the season. Obviously it would normally be a lot more at this time of year, but would you say highlight for this season for you?
Yeah, I think we've had a number of good performances, but for me, my highlight would just be getting my first goal and getting that ticked off, because it was it was becoming a bit of a pressure game after game after game, because I think I should be getting more goals in myself personally. So when the first goal came and we won the game as well, I think that's my favourite moment so far.
Obviously, you can see Altrincham moving up the table. We can see throughout the course of the season. How far do you think Altrincham can go this season, providing obviously that the season can finish in some kind of way? We're obviously not sure about that. Maybe by the time you're watching this, you might know, and this will be a bit outdated. But how far do you think Altrincham can go this season, obviously?
Yeah, I believe that we can go wherever we want to be fair. I think the way we're playing, and that everyone sticks by the philosophy, and everyone's confident at the moment. But obviously, football can change quickly. You know that. So, and with everything in place, with coronavirus and stuff, you don't know when it's your last chance. So, I think at this moment we're just going to take it game by game and just focus on each one and see where it puts us at the end of the season. I think, yeah.
And obviously, the manager Phil Parkinson, obviously. What's it like playing under him? And is he someone who do you think helps you? Is it sort of some players say, some players suit certain managers? Is that something you've got with him?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think he trusts me. Yeah, he trusts in my ability. which only breeds confidence for me if a manager has faith in me like that. So I think it's around 14 games on the spin now that he's trusted me in a row. So yeah, I think we have a good relationship, and I have a lot of respect for him as a coach and a manager. I think the way he's got this team playing as a part-time team in a full-time league, I think you can't have anything else but the utmost respect to him. The top guy as well, good man manager. So I have a lot of respect for him, and I think we both suit each other in terms of what I'm trying to get from him, what I'm learning from him, and what I'm producing for him on the pitch as well.
Obviously, with the Altrincham move now being permanent, do you sort of feel more like a senior player compared to before when you're on loan and it's sort of perhaps 5 or 6 games here and there at this club, at that club, or whatever? When do you sort of perhaps maybe feel like sort of just a sort of youth player who's here and there? Do you feel more like a senior player now that it's a permanent move and you sort of nailed down to a club?
Yeah, I think you bang on. When you topping from club to club on loan, you kind of get seen as, I don't know, the youngster from a certain club. But now I'm permanent. Yeah, I do feel part of the squad. I do feel like a senior boy, because I'm playing games as well. I think with more games in a row becomes a better reputation, and you feel like more of a senior player when you're involved a lot. So yeah, I definitely do.
We've now got some generic questions, obviously, that we asked to every player at the end. Best player you've played with on your team?
I think for Mansfield Town, it was for Mansfield Town. It was Tyler Walker. It'd be Tyler Walker or George Grant, I believe, because both of them were unbelievable. I didn't really get to play much games with them because back then I was just really involved in training and on the bench and stuff, but in training, some of the stuff they used to do, it was mind blowing, to be fair. Technically, both unbelievable. They've gone on to do very well at the moment. So yeah, them two, I'd say.
Best stadium you've played in?
I think the best stadium, just for the experience, would have been the Swindon one, just for the experience. But when I've been on the bench with Mansfield, we've been to MK Dons in the playoffs. Well, no, in the last game of the season, sorry, just before we lost and got into the playoffs. I think it was around 20,000 fans there, and it had that sort of FA Cup final feeling. And that is the feeling that I'll bottle up for a long time, because that was an occasion, definitely. So I'd probably say
funniest moment of your career?
I reckon I'd say back when I was a scholar, we had because we won back-to-back titles, we had sort of an end of season celebration on the pitch at half time with the scholars, a Mansfield Town first team game, and all the lads have know that it's the dress code's tracksuits, and we've told one lad to come in like a full suit, and all the boys have like sort of been in on it, and bless him, his parents were there, everything, and he's come in his full suit, and he's just stuck out like a sore thumb in front of the fans at half time. And yeah, the boys were not nice to him that day, but it was a funny moment for sure. But he got over it in the end. But yeah, he was angry at the start. It was a funny moment.
Advice you would give to young players coming into the game? Obviously, still young yourself, but something we normally ask is some of the older players, but for you as a younger player, advice you'd give to younger players coming into the game?
Yeah. As you said, I'm still a bit young, but my advice would be just enjoy football and don't put pressure on yourself, really, and believe in your ability, because whatever situation you're probably in, if they're in an academy system or wherever they're playing, just believe you're good enough. If you have the belief that you're good enough, you won't let anyone else's opinion affect you. So I think that's the best way to be and enjoy football. So that's what I would say.
This question we normally ask it's normally better perhaps for older players who've had a career and had lots of experiences. But essentially, if you could change one result or moment from your career and see where that would have taken, not so much a regret, but see where that sort of change would have taken you, almost like an alternate timeline in the time machine, you'd be like, what result or moment would you change and why?
That's a tough question. I think, as cliche as it sounds, I wouldn't really change much because I think every experience has sort of molded me as a player. But if I was to give you an answer, maybe that MK Dons game with Mansfield. If we had just got a point, we would have got promoted. I would have been at a League One club, but probably for the first time in my career. So it would have been interesting to see where that went. But in general, I'm happy with all the experience I've had because I believe it's made me the player I am today, as cliche as it sounds.
There we go, and that's all of our questions done. Just want to say thanks to you, mate, for coming on, taking time out and having a chat and, answering some questions. And yeah, we do always appreciate, even if it's not, obviously still young yourself, so there wasn't not exactly like as much content. We sort of saying this before, sometimes you get players 10 years and they've got so much sort of stuff to talk about compared to it's only a few years. But we always appreciate it. And just thanks to everyone for watching and tuning into this episode. And hopefully we'll see you next week in another episode.